Hi, my name is Christy Morphus. I'm here this morning to ask you to join me in our effort to reform or abolish the Common Core state standard. As you see on the slide, Common Core was originally designed to make a common standard across the states for all students, so that if they were to move from one state to another, they would still be on the same level. This was all a great idea, but the implementation is all wrong. It's just not working. It is too difficult for the kids to keep up with such demanding, not rigorous expectations of themselves. For those who are not used to the standards, maybe you don't have a kid in school or your child is younger and hasn't gotten to this stage yet, here's an example of the third grade math that I work with the students with as a volunteer and my own child is learning. In this you see it says solve the equation using the distributive property of multiplication. Now when I was in school I have no clue what the distributive property of multiplication is. But they will give them an equation such as 8 times 9 equals C. Sometimes it won't even say 8 times 9 equals C. It'll say 8 times 9 where the number to be found is represented by C, much like we did in algebra. So with the distributive property, they would split that 8 apart into two numbers. Now I'm using 4 and 4 just to be simple, but it could be 6 and 2, it could be 5 and 3, it could be any numbers they choose. But either way, both equations have to be multiplied by 9. Now yes, it is simple, but is it as easy as learning 8 times 9 equals 72? I think it isn't. I think it is quite confusing, and many have now defined it as dumbing down a very simple process. No longer memorizing the multiplication charts, we are now just dumbing it down where they can just break these numbers apart and find any way they can. But if on the test or on their homework or on a paper they were to write 8 times 9 equals 72 and that's all they wrote, they'd get it wrong, because there would be no explanation. And several times I've seen on papers where it says explain. So then they have to write out an explanation. So this is what they would write. They put 4 times 9 plus 4 times 9 equals C. Algebra, right? Then you got 36 plus 36 equals 72. Now on the other side is another way they show them to break it apart. And it's used to make them see what they're doing. So you have 8 times 9 in the big bubble. Then you have lines coming down to show that from the 8 times 9 you can get 4 times 9 and 4 times 9. So from there they would still have to do another step and do this over here on the other side, or they would get it wrong. And all that to simply say 8 times 9 equals 72. So you tell me, is Common Core working? Is it beneficial? I don't think so. Ms. Crystal Swayze from the Arkansas Against Common Core group has also voiced pretty well the same opinion I have. And on her website and page called Hogwash Alert, she has stated that the reason Common Core even went across was because it is pushed by Bill Gates and it is supported by different organizations that he funds. Then she states that they have showed no evidence to back their claims of it being rigorous, internationally competitive, or research-based. Even those who worked on the initiative have stated in several YouTube videos and other places that they never once said that the standards were research-based. They showed no research. It was simply their opinion, and now they feel that the standards are wrong. It has now become, in my opinion and others, a battle between the students, the teachers, and us, the parents, versus the huge public and private partnerships of corporations like those headed by Bill Gates. This is a problem when it is your child's future at stake. Who wants a huge corporation telling them, well, your child isn't smart enough because they don't get these standards that we set. We say this is what they should learn, and you don't get a say because you don't have the money to put into it. It's not right. So far, I've told you what parents are feeling and what some of the teachers are feeling. But now I give you an opinion from a principal. Her name is Miss Carol Burris, and she's a principal of Southside High School in New York City. Now, she wrote a book to begin with in support of Common Core. She was a huge advocate and really was talking down on anyone who was against it, because she originally believed, as we did, that it would be great, that it would be perfect for all states to be doing the same thing. Now she says in an article on the Washington Post that she confesses that she was naive, that she should have known in an age in which standardized tests direct teaching and learning that the standards themselves would quickly become operationalized by the tests. Testing, coupled with the evaluation of teachers by scores, is driving its implementation, not the learning and the successful learning all the way across all the states. She says the promise of the Common Core is dying, and teaching and learning are being distorted. The well that should sustain the core has been poisoned. So it's not just the opinion of us parents. It's not just the opinion of a few teachers that them being judged on those tests is wrong. It's not just considered hard by the students and more work than is necessary by us parents. It is even looked down on by teachers and principals who were once supporting the initiative. So once again I ask, why are we not changing or dropping the Common Core standards? So one may ask, what would we do if we did go away from the Common Core standards? Well, states before this had their own standards. Each state was allowed to adopt, their Board of Education was allowed to implement their own standards and what they thought their state students should learn. But that too was a problem and still is a problem, because when your child moved from one state to another, they may fall behind like mine did in reading, because reading in Arkansas was considered more important than in Texas. But then again, they may be more advanced, as the same child was, because in Texas, math was more advanced at his level than it was here in Arkansas. But there are still programs out there, such as the ACT testing, which most of us think of as on the college level. You know, it tells the colleges how ready we are. But they also have it for as low down as the grades 3 through 6. Then they have it for 7 through 12. That would be a viable alternative, or the states could get together and simply reform those Common Core standards so that it's no longer completely what's being taught in the classroom, so that creativity can be brought back into the classrooms. Right now, you may not know, but your students no longer do art as they used to, because even art is being used to push those standards on the kids. All school districts don't do it. It, of course, varies by district, but where my kids go to school, I have not yet seen one piece of artwork come home. And it's really disturbing, because I want my children to be well-rounded. And when they get to college, they're expected to be well-rounded. So how is Common Core working if the only thing it is helping is in English and math and certain skill sets? Because when your child gets to college, they won't know the great class readings anymore. They won't be studying them according to Common Core. It's not important. They will learn how to read informational text and how to write informational text. Of course, they're still doing creative writing because of other programs, but Common Core isn't concerned about it. It's not a skill set. Children are no longer taught how to hold a pencil and write correctly. Cursive writing is an option. Things that we all are so used to and can't imagine what school would have been like if we wouldn't have done it, is no longer important according to Common Core. So please, I beg of you and I ask you to get with your state representatives, with the state senators, get with advocacy groups, get with your school district, your school board, other parents, teachers, staff, anyone you can, and get on board with us in trying to get Common Core out of the schools. If we can't get it out, to at least get it changed so that it encompasses the whole child and all their learning, and not just little skills that they can't even build upon because they might miss that one skill one day. Thank you so much and have a great day.